If you buy a new device today, regardless of the manufacturer, you are essentially buying a perfectly flat, sterile piece of glass. Designers refer to this ongoing trend as the Great Flattening. Over the last 15 years, the industry systematically erased the tactile buttons, the unique physical silhouettes, and the playful textures that used to define consumer tech. We used to demand our hardware make a physical statement. A phone or MP3 player was highly personal, a customizable extension of your wardrobe and personality. Today, the hardware is explicitly designed to get out of the way. The physical object is now completely featureless because its only job is to serve as an invisible vessel for the software inside it. But at the turn of the millennium, designers were taking the exact opposite approach. They embraced a style known as Y2K Blobitecture, or sensual minimalism. Because early digital technology was still intimidating to many consumers, industrial designers used soft, biological, liquid-like forms to make these new machines feel approachable. We saw massive experimentation with physical hardware. Companies built colorful, transparent plastics that proudly displayed the internal circuitry, turning high-tech computing into something that looked like a toy. The absolute zenith of this biomorphic design philosophy arrived in October 2005 with the release of the Sony Walkman Bean. Sony leaned entirely into the lifestyle aesthetic. They launched the device in 4 pastel colors with names like cotton candy pink and licorice black, and they even distributed literal candy dispensers to early customers in Asia. The goal was clear. Sony engineered this device to be viewed as high-tech confectionery. They wanted you to look at a digital audio player and feel the exact same biological, emotional delight you get from holding a jelly bean. Beneath the candy-coated exterior, the bean packed some serious engineering. Sony managed to shrink the device down to just 45 grams, hiding a high-contrast OLED screen right beneath the curved plastic shell. But its real weapon was power efficiency. Sony leveraged its expertise in lithium-ion batteries to deliver a staggering 50 hours of continuous playback on a single charge. If you were in a rush, a pop-out USB port allowed you to plug it directly into a computer and pull 3 hours of playback time from just a 3-minute quick charge. This chart compares the Walkman Bean directly against its primary competitor at the time, the first-generation Apple iPod Shuffle. Where the iPod offered 12 hours of battery and no screen, the Bean offered 50 hours, an OLED display, and a built-in FM radio. If the portable audio wars had been fought solely on physical merits and battery chemistry, Sony's Bean would have easily defeated the competition. The physical design did introduce some immediate friction. That clever pop-out USB port was protected by a sliding plastic cover that also doubled as the device's hold switch, creating a wobbly, frustrating mechanism that was prone to popping open in your pocket. But the true fatal flaw didn't live on the device itself. It lived on your computer, in the form of Sony's proprietary music management software, Sonic Stage. This visualization shows the Sonic Stage bottleneck. Because Sony was deeply committed to digital rights management to protect its music empire, you couldn't just drop your music onto the player. Your entire library of standard MP3s hit a wall, forced to slowly convert into Sony's 8-track audio format. This mandatory process was agonizingly slow, alienating consumers who had already grown accustomed to the simple drag-and-drag file management offered by other brands. It is a textbook case of the innovator's dilemma. Sony relied on their highly successful 1980s playbook, fighting a war based on beautiful hardware and physical engineering, completely blind to the fact that the battle for digital music had already moved to the software interface. The market rejection was swift. Sony quietly discontinued the Walkman Bean in April 2006, a mere 6 months after it launched. Look at the Apple iPod that conquered the market in its place. It is a stark, white, geometrically perfect rectangle. Apple intentionally designed their hardware to be a minimalist blank canvas. The physical object was subdued so that the frictionless software experience of iTunes could take center stage. The rapid extinction of the Bean and the rest of the Y2K Blobitecture movement marked a permanent turning point. It was the end of the character electronic. We ultimately traded hardware personality for software convenience. The sterile, identical glass rectangles we carry today are the price we paid to have an invisible portal to our digital lives. The Walkman Bean remains a perfect fossil from the exact moment we stopped treating our